are tech companies engaging in slave-type labor or horrible work conditions for other countries' employees that they utilize for their services? This has been an ongoing debate that has happened over and over again, that's been going on, and we've seen comments from protesters, activists, things of that nature, commenting on harmful work conditions, commenting on terrible situations where certain tech companies that are looked at as the epitome of morality in some cases, or at least try to make themselves looked at in that way, have been behind some very questionable actions and behavior, whether it's direct or whether it's through proximity, or through proxy rather, in their history. And so now we're going to look at some articles coming up against OpenAI and ChatGPT that is unfortunately connected to other tech companies as well. But in this article we came across on TechCrunch, again, it says workers that made ChatGPT less harmful ask lawmakers to stem alleged exploitation by big tech. I almost said pig tech, which, you know, might be accurate as you keep going here. No bias in that whatsoever. But the article states that Kenyan workers who helped remove harmful content on ChatGPT, OpenAI's smart search engine that generates content based on user prompts, have filed a petition before the country's lawmakers calling them to launch investigations on big tech outsourcing content moderation and AI work in Kenya. The petitioners want investigations into the nature of work, the conditions of work, and the operations of the big tech companies that outsource services in Kenya through companies like Sama, which is at the heart of several litigations on alleged exploitation, union busting, and illegal mass layoffs of content moderators. So this is a very interesting thing that's taking place, and whether you believe or not that these tech companies are engaging in this kind of behavior, like I said, it's been ongoing and heated for many years. But this company Sama has recently ended all of its content moderations as it operates in a totally different space. But it's involved in many tech companies, not just OpenAI, but Meta has been involved in it, multiple companies. In fact, we have another article here that we came across. This is from 2022, just to show you how this is an ongoing debate. It says Meta and Sama face legal action in Kenya for alleged poor work conditions. And so essentially, as it goes, Meta contracted Sama to engage in content moderation, and their employees and staff were exposed to very dark and twisted posts, videos, things of that nature. It talks about being exposed to beheadings, it's exposed to very twisted content, the darkest of the dark, that a content moderator would have to see in order to block it and take care of it. And all of this was outsourced to Sama, who had workers in Kenya and multiple other locations, but primarily talking about Kenya. It says Meta and Sama, its main subcontractor for content moderation in Africa, are facing a lawsuit in Kenya over alleged unsafe and unfair working conditions if they fail to meet 12 demands on workplace conditions brought before them. And so the law firm representing the person who's alleging the lawsuit, a former Sama employee who was laid off for organizing a strike in 2019 over poor working conditions and pay, in a demand letter seen by TechCrunch, accused the subcontractor of violating various rights, including that of health and privacy of Kenyan international staff. They were allegedly laid off for organizing the strike and trying to unionize Sama employees. The law firm has given Meta and Sama 12 days, starting Tuesday, March 29th, to respond to the demands or face a lawsuit. In the demand letter, the law firm asked Meta and Sama to adhere to the country's labor, privacy, and health laws, recruit qualified and experienced health professionals, and provide the moderators with adequate mental health insurance and better compensation. And so basically, they're saying Meta is responsible. If you are saying that how could Meta be responsible, they're subcontracting this work to this company. It says in this article, I think it actually says, we came across the Time article, which was referenced in the first article we were reading. But the Time article says, under fire, Facebook's ethical outsourcing partner quits content moderation work. Basically, they're under a lot of heat. There's a lot of lawsuits going on involving them and Meta, and now there's a petition going on involving them and OpenAI in regards to multiple tech companies working here and using this organization. But under Meta specifically, they had a $3.9 billion contract uncovered by Time magazine. that basically Meta hired them to engage in this content moderation, and it turned out to be just a farm that they were just pushing these workers at. Supposedly, this is all you know, it's what's being accused. And so if you think that Meta isn't responsible for this, then you're probably not of the same cloth that would talk about and discuss how you believe that a country can be engaged in a proxy war with another country, not by sending troops directly on the ground, but by resourcing another nation to engage in that war for them. And that's not me being political at all. But if you don't think that a country could be engaged in a war that way, then you're probably going to think that Meta doesn't deserve to be held responsible for this. But it turns out that all of these tech companies that try to be moral high ground, or at least not all of them. That's a too general of a statement. But there's a lot of them that engage in this kind of behavior, hiring and outsourcing these companies, knowing that they are under fire for this kind of behavior and under fire for farming this stuff out. OpenAI definitely knew that Sama was under this kinds of conditions and understood that they were being questioned in this way. Sama claims it's not under violation of any kind of mental health issues or labor laws or anything like that. But if they were, they definitely backed out of it now. And there's more organizations like this that are out there where they basically farm this kind of work out and force these people to work in really bad conditions. And they're just going through posts day after day after day, really harmful, disturbing posts that cause psychological harm. And there's no care being taken in to make sure that they're being taken care of. So that's where I leave it up to you guys. Do you think that that Meta and OpenAI should be held responsible for this kind of work if they're using these services and they know about it? How can they sit here and be arbiters for truth, be arbiters for justice, be arbiters for all these things when they are knowingly engaging in business practices with companies that are like this on the other side of the sea? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that since it's not here in our own country, they know that most people won't care. I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just saying maybe that's what it is. But it says the workers say they were exploited. This is in the original article now. We're back in regards to them wanting a petition signed for their government to engage in making sure that their working conditions are better. It says the workers say they were exploited and not offered psychological support, yet they were exposed to harmful content that left them with severe mental illness. The workers want the lawmakers to regulate the outsourcing of harmful and dangerous technology and to protect the workers that do it. They are also calling on them to enact legislation regulating the outsourcing of harmful and dangerous technology work and protecting workers who are engaged through such engagements. Sama says it counts 25% of Fortune 50 companies, including Google and Microsoft, as its clients. The San Francisco-based company's main business is in computer vision, data annotation, curation, and validation. It employs more than 3,000 people across its hubs, including the one in Kenya. Earlier this year, Sama dropped content moderation services to concentrate on computer vision data annotation. I can't talk this morning. I'm sorry. Laying off 260 workers. OpenAI's response to the alleged exploitation acknowledged that the work was challenging, adding that it had established and shared ethical and wellness standards without giving further details on the exact measures with its data annotators for the work to be delivered humanely and willingly. I think that they're not going to give you details because I don't think there is enough to engage in this kind of behavior. Or engage in this kind of stuff. I think no matter what they do, it's not going to be considered enough. However, what is enough as judged or evaluated by labor laws and protections and things like that that are restricting them in order to engage in such? And are there labor laws that do that? Is it right for them to know that it will cause damage? Should they go above and beyond? All these things are questions that need to be asked. Is that something that we should just let them slip by? How are you going to sit here and tell me, that there needs to be better, working conditions and better treatment of people on our own soil, yet you're going to, allow this kind of stuff to engage in this kind of behavior going on to people on the other, across the sea? and you're going to know about it, and you're going to continue to engage in that. And it's not just them, it's every tech company out there, because it's just when you step into this position where you want to have a say in social justice and engage in conversations, you better make sure that everything in your downline is lining up with that, because it's going to make you look hypocritical. And this is something that has been ongoing, and it seems to be further stirring the pot. And now it turns out that OpenAI is engaged in it as well. They noted that to build safe and beneficial artificial general intelligence, human data annotation was one of the many streams of its work to collect human feedback and guide the models towards safer behavior in the real world. So once again, there's a whole other conversation that needs to be had, is that are they actually building actual artificial and general intelligence, AGI, which is now what they're labeling the artificial intelligence that you would see in movies and such, like artificial intelligence, the way the layman thinks about it, because the AI that they're using for ChatGPT is something completely different. And so, irregardless, what they claim is that content moderation companies such as what Sama was engaged in, no longer engaged in, is what they use to build those models to understand and engage with human prompts and know when to say no. It's not gonna do what it's being told to do, because it's gonna violate something weird or engage in some sort of weird practice. So we recognize this is challenging work for our researchers and annotation workers in Kenya and around the world. Their efforts to ensure the safety of AI systems has been immensely valuable, said OpenAI spokesperson. Sama told TechCrunch it was open to working with the Kenyan government to ensure that baseline protections are in place at all companies. It said that it welcomes third-party audits of its working conditions, adding that employees have multiple channels to raise concerns, and that it has performed multiple external and internal evaluations and audits to ensure we are paying fair wages and providing a working environment that is dignified. So they say, yet, earlier this year they announced they're no longer offering those services. So, you be the judge. I want to know, what do you guys think in the comment section below? Do you think that companies like Meta and OpenAI should be held responsible for this kind of stuff when engaging with these companies, knowing that there's questionable behaviors, questionable ethics being brought forward to the attention? Maybe it's something that needs to change on the government level. Maybe they need to engage or have better laws and better protections for employees in this situation. I'm curious to see what you think in the comment section below. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for all the support, and I will catch you guys in the next one.